And I think one of the other pieces of that resilience question is really around something that links directly to women in leadership. And that is that we still have to fight really hard to be taken seriously. And it is very difficult because of that, to be honest. Like when I was saying about an interview or an HR conversation where you're like, I can't work in an office past 6 p.m., for example. That's a hard thing for somebody to say, because what you're showing is your weakness. You're showing that you're not as available perhaps as another person who doesn't have those external pressures. So we as women have to be more direct without being aggressive. We have to be more capable of staying strong without coming across as pushy. And we also have to balance this reality of all the other things that happen in our lives. Because if we don't, I find that genetically, we're just sort of not our best selves. And yet, organizations and companies don't want to know about your personal life. They don't want you to ask for what you need because somebody else doesn't need those things. And so I would say that part of the resilience comes from being authentic always with your needs, so that people can recognize that you can still do what they want, even with the needs that you have. And it's okay. Maybe this online world that we're living in is going to help show some of that. But I've even said to men, you don't get asked the questions about whether or not your family or your partner or your significant other needs you, because people make an assumption that somebody else is taking care of that. So I think in this virtual environment we're in, I think you should let your kids walk in on your Zoom meetings, because your colleagues need to know that you're doing a great job despite the fact and because of the fact that you're multitasking. So instead of hiding that, show it so that they understand that you're still doing a great job. And that's, women are doing that because the kids just pile in. But I've said that to some men. I was like, we need you to do that too, so that women aren't looked at as the only ones who are getting interrupted on the Zoom calls. That women aren't the only ones who are expected to stop working to help with the homeschooling. Not because you mean it, but because you're better at that compartmentalization. And I want your company to know, just as much as my company, that you're working with all of these restrictions and situations that are in place, because they need to see you're doing a good job and those things are still happening in the background. And so that ability to fight for what we need is very hard, because it's much easier as a woman to say, oh yeah, I can just work whenever you need me and I can be there and I'm really good at that. And then to feel really mad at yourself that you didn't say, wait, that doesn't make me happy. That doesn't make me as excellent as I can be, both for myself and for you. I want to be both the best employee that I can be, and I also want to be the best non-employee, because if I'm mad at you, then I'm not good to them, and if I'm mad at them, I'm not good to you. So it's a constant struggle, and I think that we are quick in a leadership position to retreat, but instead we have to use that resilience to say, let me tell you a story about that time that I ran that big meeting and I kicked butt, and yet I had my kids in the background, and I had to be doing homeschool during the breaks and whatever it was. And so the resilience is practiced all the time, and I forget to, but it's just sort of that keep on plugging mentality, I think, and remembering that we're a lot stronger than we think.
That's a lot of what you said is really
long answer. I'm sorry.
No, you make a lot of really good points, and I like, even though I'm not a mother, the concept of let your kids come in the door. It reminds me of the viral news clip where the little kid runs in. Mm-hmm. And it's really very funny, but that is an interesting perspective of also, again, with the give yourself grace, we're working at home, I'm living with 5 other people, 3 dogs. It's there's only so much space in a house, and you have to be gentle with yourself and also understanding. And I feel like I'm getting a lot of really good life advice right now that
I kicked my family out in the rain for our conversation today, so